Muhammad, can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to start straight away. We will solve this exam today, November 23, variant 23. Good, let's finish. Okay, like we said last time, the first 30 questions are usually easy and the tricky questions are the last 10. Let's start. What are the characteristics of all living organisms? Breathing, growth, and movement, digestion, nutrition, and reproduction, digestion, excretion, and respiration, reproduction, respiration, and sensitivity.
D.
Yes. Okay. This is always the first question, by the way. So don't forget to study the characteristics of life. And the binomial system is always also question number two. Which statement is correct? The name of the lion is Panthera leo. The lion belongs to the kingdom Panthera, or the lion belongs to the genus Panthera, or the lion belongs to the species Panthera, or the lion belongs to the genus Leo.
B.
Yes, Muhammad, I want to also you to participate. Yes, because the genus is always the first name and the species is the second. The diagram shows an organism called Chlamydomonas. Now look at the diagram. Here it has ribosomes, it has mitochondria, it has a nucleus, it has a chloroplast. Which processes can this organism carry out? Photosynthesis and respiration only, photosynthesis, respiration, and protein synthesis and respiration only, or respiration only. Which one is correct? It has mitochondria, so it can do respiration or it can't.
Yes. And I can also do
Okay,
photosynthesis.
and chloroplasts, it can do what too?
Photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis. And it has a nucleus, so it can produce proteins or not?
Yes.
Of course. Okay, so the answer must be B. Okay, up to now, easy. Which structure contains chlorophyll, A, B, C, or D?
C.
C. B is the nucleus. B is not the chloroplast. Okay, five. A diagram of a white blood cell has a diameter of 76 millimeters. The magnification is times 8,000. What is the actual diameter of the white blood cell? How will you do it? What is the formula?
I am.
I am. Okay. So we have the image, which is 76, and we have the magnification, which is 8,000. How do I get the actual in micrometers? What do I
Times
do?
1000.
Yes, very good. So I have my calculator here with me. 76 times 1,000. This is 76,000 divided by 8,000, which is the magnification. The answer will be 9.5 micrometers. Okay. Six. Which diagram shows the appearance of a plant cell after it has been placed in pure water? A, B, C, or D?
C.
D.
Of course not C. Come on. Who said C? How
Yes,
can
we
it
said
be C?
D.
I didn't hear you. D. Yes, it's D. Yes. Okay, maybe I did not hear you. Okay. So, of course, it's D because here this is a turgid cell, a cell with the cell membrane pushed against the cell wall, and the vacuole here is not shrinking. So, it is D. Which process requires active transport? Oxygen movement from the alveoli to the blood, ion uptake by root hair cells, water movement, or absorption of water? Now, this is so easy.
B.
Of course. Okay, perfect. Which row shows the chemical elements contained in fats? Carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen. What is not in fats? Let me change the question. What is not present in fats?
Nitrogen.
Nitrogen.
Yes. So the answer is A. It has carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, not nitrogen. Good. Glycogen is a large molecule made from smaller molecules. Which smaller molecules is glycogen made from? Also, this is easy. It's made up
Glucose.
from what? Yes, it's a sugar. Okay. So it is C. Now, the graph shows the effect of temperature on the rate of a reaction catalyzed by enzymes. We're very familiar with this graph. Which statement explains the shape of the graph at X? The enzyme is not the correct one to act on this substrate. The enzyme is not the correct one to act on this substrate. The enzyme is starting to denature. The number of active sites is increasing, or the frequency of the enzyme substrate collisions is increasing.
D.
Yes. Okay. I want you to score the full mark in the first 30 questions. If you want to do mistakes, do them in the last 10. Okay? Really, the first 30 questions are so easy. During growth, potato plants produce flowers and underground storage organs called tubers. During this time, which parts of the plant act as the source and sink for the translocation? Hmm. Again, during
The source
growth,
is the flowers.
yes.
The
No,
sink is
one
the
minute,
leaf.
1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. During growth, potato plants produce flowers and underground storage organs called tubers. During this time, which parts of the plant act as a source and sink for translocation? What did you say? What will be the source?
The potato tubers are the source. صح?
No, 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 no. Here we are growing, and during
Leaves
the
are the
growth, what
source.
is, yes, the leaves are the source. Okay, this is number 11. Yes, the leaves are the source. The Look, this is growth is happening. During the growth, what is being produced? Flowers are produced and underground storage organs. So we need energy to go to the flower and we need energy to go to the storage organs because they are being produced. So these two are sinks. Then something else has to be the source. The leaves has to be the source. Okay? So the flower is a sink and the potato tuber is a sink. Why? Because this is what's being produced during the growth. Are you with me?
Yes.
Let's read it again. During growth, we're growing. So we are making flowers and we're making storage organs. So we are producing glucose, and this glucose is going to the flower and the storage organ. So the flower and the storage organs are sinks. So the leaf has to be the source. Okay, I will highlight this question. 12. The diagram shows an experiment investigating the effect of light intensity on an aquatic plant. Photosynthesis occurred in both test tube P and Q. Both test tubes were kept at the same temperature. The number of bubbles produced in test tube P was 12 bubbles and 12 bubbles per minute. What is the most likely number of bubbles produced in 1 minute in test
D.
tube Q? Why did you say D? D is correct.
علشان اللايت سورس أقرب فمور rate of respiration.
Yes, you mean more photosynthesis. Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Here, they are both exposed to light, so both of them will do photosynthesis. But Q will do more photosynthesis because, just like Selma said, the distance is shorter. So there will be more bubbles. So any number above 12. Good. Which human teeth are used for biting and cutting? This is so easy. Biting and cutting.
And scissors and molars and
No,
premolars.
no.
Canines.
Premolars and molars are for grinding, crushing food.
Incisor and
Biting,
canines.
yes, 13B. We're not allowed to do mistakes before number 30. I told which organ in your digestive system produces the acid? Come on. A, B, C,
Stomach.
or D. Where did you go?
Yes, you can see the screen.
Did I lose you? Oh God.
Hello.
Hello.
أنا بتهيألي إن هو recorded لسه.
It's recorded.
Okay, again, it's the connection. You can see my screen now.
Yes.
Which
Yes.
organ produces hydrochloric acid, my dear? A, B, C, or D?
A.
A.
Okay, very easy one. Okay. 15. The diagram shows the structure of a villus. The artery, capillary, lacteal, and vein are labeled with letters. I think also this question is repeated. We solved it last time. Which letter shows where nutrients are absorbed in the blood? A, B, C, or D?
A.
B.
Nutrients. What do they mean here by nutrient? Yes, it's
Glucose.
B. Okay. Yes, nutrients here, they mean glucose and the amino acids and the water and the vitamins and the minerals. A is what? Let's label it.
is لا هتبقى أيوه مش فاكرة
Lactile.
اسمها.
The lacteal. Okay. Now this image is very nice because it shows you this is one villus. Okay. And what are these small hairs?
Microvilli.
Very good. Microvilli. It's a very nice diagram. Now, what are those layer of cells called? Those cells
Epithelial.
that
Epithelial
very
lining.
good. The epithelial cell. Yes, yes. Very good. Okay. Perfect. This is the direction of blood flow. Okay. In case they ask you to label D, D is an artery or a vein?
Artery.
Yes. And C is a
Vein.
vein. And what is the name of this vein that is going to the liver, from the intestines to the liver?
Hepatic portal
Hepatic.
vein.
Well done. Amazing. You will all be doctors. By which process is water vapor lost from a leaf? This is also easy.
Diffusion.
B.
Yes, of course, diffusion. Okay. Water will diffuse out. Okay. The pathway taken by water through a plant is shown. Root hair cells, root cortex, and then Z, and then the mesophyll. Which part of the pathway is Z?
D.
Yes. Okay. Remember the picture that we always draw. We have the root and the xylem in the center, and we have a big root hair cell. And then we have water in the soil. The water will move into the root hair cell by osmosis, move through the cortex cells, reach the central xylem, and then up to the mesophyll cells, and then it will evaporate. 18. Which chamber is the right ventricle? The graph shows the thickest of the muscular wall in each of the four chambers. Which chamber is the right ventricle, not the left? A, B, C, or D?
C.
Of course not C. Why C?
D.
It's
D.
B. Why D, حبيبتي? Why? What is the thickest muscular wall found? Like
Septum
in
على
which?
left ventricle.
Left
On
ventricle.
On the left ventricle. Yes, if this is the heart, okay. We talked about the left ventricle and we said the left ventricle, next to it, I have a very thick muscular wall. And we said because it will pump blood with very high force, because it will pump it into the aorta, into the whole body, it will travel a long distance, blah, blah, blah. And you have here the right ventricle. And the wall of the right ventricle, is it thick or thin?
thinner علشان pulmonary circulation.
Yes, very good. Thinner. Okay. And we also compared the walls of the atria to the walls of the ventricles, and they are thinner or thicker?
Thinner.
Thin.
They're both thinner. Yes, they're both thinner. Why? Because they only need to pump the blood from the atria to the ventricles, just down here. Okay, so it's B. Let's look even at the
I
marks.
thought you said atriums.
No, Habibti, they're asking about the ventricles. Okay, let's look at the marks key to be sure. This is number what? 18, we said? What is the B? Yes. Okay, so we're doing a good job, but we don't want any confusion. Which row shows correct features of the circulatory system of a fish? The number of atria, 1. Number of ventricles, 1. Number of times blood flows through the body, 1. Or
يبقى
1,
A.
1, 2, or yeah, it's A. It's very obvious. Okay. Now 20. Cholera infection can cause the the following events. 1. Cells lining the small intestine secrete chloride. Cholera bacteria produce toxin. Chloride ions move into the small intestine. Water from the blood moves into the small intestine by osmosis. Water potential of fluid in the small intestine becomes lower. Which sequence of events will cause diarrhea? What do we start with?
2.
Yes, we start with 2. The cholera bacteria produce toxin. So the answer is either B or D. You choose. Is it 2-1 or 2-3?
B.
Yes. The cholera produces toxins, and then the cells lining the small intestine will become irritated and they secrete chloride ions. So it's B. And then let's look at 3. And then after the chloride ions move into the small intestines. And then 5, the water potential of the small intestine will decrease. And this is going to be followed by water. So the answer is B. This can be a tricky question if you did not study well. So let me highlight this also for you. Which row shows the composition of expired air from a healthy person? Expired. Carbon. You tell.
D.
D. Carbon dioxide. What did you say?
Miss, what's the meaning of water vapor saturated?
Water vapor saturated means water droplets in the air. Water is suspended in the air. The water is a gas, it's a vapor, and it is filling the air. The air is humid.
هو
Okay.
ال expired air اللي احنا بنعمل له يعني expiration يعني ولا اللي في الهواء
Yes.
عموما؟
Outside.
يبقى
The air that
تبقى
is
A لو هتبقى outside.
No, حبيبتي, the air that you exhale that comes out of your lungs.
يبقى D يا مس.
Yes, it's D. Okay, it's D because the oxygen is 16. You take in 21% oxygen and what comes out is 16. And the carbon you take in 0.04 and what comes out is 4. Okay, I told you to memorize the numbers. And water vapor saturated means more water vapor. So it's D. Do you all agree with me? Or anyone is confused?
We agree.
Okay, good. Now, the table shows the relative concentrations of urea in the blood entering and leaving the kidneys and liver. Which row is correct? The highest concentration of urea in the blood entering the kidneys or leaving the kidneys? The lowest concentration of urea in the blood leaving the liver or entering the liver? This can be a little bit confusing. I will not help you.
B.
Yes, it's B. It's B. It's definitely B. Let's look at it. Highest concentration of urea in the blood. We know urea is produced in which organ?
Liver.
Very good. So I have a liver, okay? So the urea will be produced in the liver and then it will be carried by the blood to go to which organ?
The kidney.
The kidney, okay? So the blood going to the kidney, entering the kidneys will be the highest in urea. Good. And then the lowest concentration of urea in the blood. We know that urea is made in the liver. So the blood that is entering the liver has low urea because it is made inside the liver. So it is entering the liver. Did you get number 22? Who is confused? Number 22 is definitely tricky. But the answer is definitely B. Let's look at the mark scheme to make sure. 22B. Okay? Anyone is confused from 22? Do you want me to repeat it? Okay. No one is confused. 23. Which statement about anaerobic respiration is correct? Let's read it together. A. Anaerobic respiration requires oxygen. Do I continue or I don't even continue?
Don't even
No.
Don't
continue.
continue.
No, of course not. B. Anaerobic respiration
برضه
requires oxygen. I will not continue. I will not waste my time. C. Anaerobic
هتبقى C.
respiration does not require oxygen, yes, and releases less energy per clue. Yes, it's C. Okay, I would just want to make sure that D is wrong. Anaerobic respiration does not require oxygen and releases more energy. No. So the answer is definitely C. 24. During exercise, an oxygen debt may occur in muscles. What is the cause of this debt? A. Aerobic respiration causes a decrease in lactic acid, or aerobic respiration causes an increase in lactic acid, or anaerobic respiration causes a decrease or increase in lactic acid. What is number 24?
D.
Yes.
Yes,
D.
D. Good. Okay. Uh, the diagram shows parts of the body involved in excretion. What are the labeled parts now? This is easy. What is W? W is what?
Kidney.
This is so obvious.
Kidney.
It's the kidney. So the answer is B or D. I will exclude C and exclude A. What is X?
Ureter.
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 Yes, ureter. It's not the urethra, it's the ureter. So 25 is B. 26. Good. The diagram shows a reflex action when a person touches a hot object and pulls their hand away. Which letter correctly identifies a structure? E is called the effector, F is called the motor neuron, G is called the motor neuron, or H is called the receptor. Let's remember how we study it. We said sir, me. This is the stimulus, which is the hot object. So this is sir, me. Okay, this will be the response. So this is the stimulus, the hot object. And then the skin on hand, E. The skin has receptors. And then neuron F is the sensory. And then relay, we are in the correct order. Neuron G is the motor. And then the effector is the arm muscle that will pull it away. This is the response. So which letter correctly identifies the structure? E is called the effector. Is E the effector? Right or
No.
wrong? No.
No.
F is called the motor. Is F the motor?
No.
No. C. G is called the motor. Is G the motor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. G is the answer. H is called the receptor. Where is H? No, it's not the receptor. The receptor is here, the first one, the second one. Okay? So this really made it very easy. Without it, maybe we will get confused. So I also highlight this for you. So you can go back and look at it. So a light source is placed on one side of a growing plant. What is the correct explanation of the role of the auxin in shoot growth? Okay, read it and tell me. Auxin is equally distributed in response to light and stimulates cell elongation. It is placed, look,
Basi.
pay attention to the question. A light is placed on one side. So the auxin will be equally or not equally distributed?
Unequally.
Unequally. So A must be wrong. B, auxin is equally distributed. Do I even continue?
No.
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 C, auxin is unequally distributed in response to light and stimulates cell elongation.
Yes.
True.
Yes. Okay. Which statement about antibiotics is correct? Antibiotics are drugs. Antibiotics are produced by white blood cells. Antibiotics can become resistant to bacteria. Antibiotics kill viruses. Now, this is very easy.
B.
C.
What?
C.
Who said C?
B.
Who said C? I'll kill you. Who said B? Haram alaikum. What's
They
this?
produce antibodies.
Who produces antibodies? The antibiotic, it's A. And antibiotic is a drug you take it through your mouth when you're sick. Antibiotics are produced by what? But who said B? Who said B? Who said B?
I thought it said antibodies.
Okay, it's A. Antibiotic. It can become resistant to bacteria. It's not the antibiotic, my dear, that becomes
بالعكس
resistant to
صح.
bacteria.
Bacteria can become
It's the
resistant.
bacteria that أيوة بالضبط.
Mm.
Okay? Be careful. Okay, 29. The graph shows the number of cases of disease caused by the MRSA bacteria in hospitals in one city between 1998 and 2010. Before you forget what is the MRSA, this is the highly resistant bacteria, okay? So you have here a nice graph with the time on the x-axis in years and the number of cases caused by the MRSA. Now there was a slow increase and then a big increase, and then it reached a peak, and then it rapidly dropped back again. What was the percentage change in the number of cases between 2002 and 2003? So here we need our calculator. 2002, I'm going to go to 2002 and I will move up and I will get a value. This value is easy to get, thank God, it is 600. And 2003, I'll go to my graph and I'll go straight up and it will. Here I have to get a value. Here I have 100 to 2000 and 1400 between box. So this is a value of 200 divided into box of 5. So every box will be how much? How do I calculate that? So
هنعمل
1400.
200 على 5.
Okay, 200 divided by 5. So every box is 40. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So 40 times 4 is 160. So 160 plus 12000 is 1360. Okay, how do you calculate it? What is the percentage change?
Final over minus starting على starting 400.
Okay, the final, this is the final over the starting, which is 600. Okay, it is 760 divided by the 600. The value will be 1.26 times 100 because I have a calculator. So the value will be 126.6, which is 127. This is number 29. It is C. Let us go and look at the mic scheme. 29 is C. Okay, so we did calculate it correctly. So they want to know if you can get proper values from a graph. Some descriptions of the reproduction are listed. 1. Formation of a zygote with a diploid nucleus, formation of a zygote with a haploid nucleus, fusion of diploid nuclei of 2 gametes, fusion of haploid nuclei of 2 gametes. Which are correct descriptions of sexual reproduction in humans? Please read carefully.
B.
1 and 4.
1. Formation of a zygote with a diploid nucleus, yes. 4. Fusion of haploid nuclei of 2 gametes, yes. Looks right to me. Then 2 and 3 must be wrong. Formation of a zygote with a haploid nucleus, wrong, of course. Fusion of a diploid nuclei, no. Of 2 gametes, no. So it's correct. 1 and 4. The answer is B. If anyone is confused, please stop me, okay? Which statement about pollination in plants is correct? A. Cross-pollination is the transfer of pollen from the anther of a flower to the style of the same flower. B. Cross-pollination is the transfer of pollen from the anther of a flower to the stigma of a flower on a different plant, but of the same species. C. Self-pollination is the transfer of pollen from the anther of a flower to the filament of the same flower. Now the answer is very obvious. What's the answer? D. Self-pollination is the transfer of pollen from the anther of a flower to the stigma of a flower on a different plant. What is the definition
B.
of cross-pollination? The answer is B. This is the only correct definition. Okay. 32. The graph shows the changes in the concentration of a hormone that is involved in controlling the menstrual cycle. Now, obviously, this is ovulation, and there is a hormone that increased after ovulation. What is the hormone?
D.
Yes. Yes. It's D. Okay. Well done. Look, I want you to notice something, that they ask you a question over the 21 lessons. Not a single lesson can be ignored. But I'm not telling you to go back and study all the lessons. No. The best way to do paper 2 is to practice. While you're practicing, if something is not well understood, you will go back and look at the lesson. But don't study now, solve now. Pea plants produce either yellow or green seeds. Yellow is dominant to green. What are the most likely phenotypes of the offspring of a cross between homozygous dominant and heterozygous? So the only thing you will do here is that you will have to do a Punnett square. You will get a pencil, and on the side of the exam, you will do a Punnett square here. Okay.
مش هتطلع مس كلها يلو.
ماشي، لازم برضو نعملها عشان نطمن انها تطلع يلو صح. You are right. Of course هتطلع كلها يلو because I have a homozygous dominant parent here. But I just want to, what if someone did not understand? okay, or just wants to make sure. Of course, what you said is perfect. They will all have, of course, a dominant phenotype, okay, which is, we said, yellow. So the answer is C. Did you all get it?
Yes.
Okay, and I did the Punnett squares for you to make it clear. But of course, as long as one of the parents are homozygous dominant, then the dominant phenotype will appear. The diagram shows the chromosomes of a cell after they have replicated and just before the cell divides by mitosis. Which pair of cells will be produced at the end of mitosis? This is mitosis. So we produce genetically identical cells. And now they said just before the cell divides by mitosis.
B.
1 minute. What did you say?
B.
هتبقى ايه؟
No, it's not B and it's not A. It's
خلاص
C.
C.
Okay, it's C. Now, why is it C? Because just before mitosis, each DNA makes a copy of itself. And every copy goes to a cell. So we have here 4 chromosomes. So the final cell also has to have 4 chromosomes, but only 1 copy of the chromosome. We have 4 chromosomes. Every chromosome made a copy of itself. So here we have a total of 8 chromosomes. When it divides, every cell will have 4, 4 and 4. Don't you know that the DNA makes a copy of itself before mitosis? Didn't we take that? Didn't we say that we have 46 chromosomes in one human cell? This 46 chromosomes, first, it will make a copy of itself. You will, at one point, temporarily have 92 chromosomes. And then these chromosomes, they will split to make 2 genetically identical cells, 46 and 46. This is exactly what happened. Here, these were chromosomes that already have replicated. This question, they're trying to confuse you. Let's read the question again. The chromosomes here, the diagram shows the chromosomes of a cell after they have replicated. So every chromosome here is a duplicate. This is 2, this is 2, this is 2, this is 2. So I have a total of 8. And then they will split to make you or to give you a cell with 4 chromosomes and another one with 4 chromosomes. So it will be C. Each one has 4 chromosomes. Did you get it? Who is confused by this
Yes.
question? Okay, let's look at the mark scheme also to make sure. 34C. Yes, 34 is C. So let me highlight it. So you go back and look at it. Now we have 5 left. The table shows the number of stomata per millimeter squared on the upper and the lower epidermis of 4 different plants. Which plant is most likely to be a hydrophytic plant? Hydrophytic plant.
D.
Now you need to remember some details here.
C.
هتبقى C C C.
No, it is C. If you remember, the hydrophytes, they float on water and they don't have stomata on the lower side of the leaf because this stomata will be blocked by the water. So the stomata is only found on the upper surface of the leaf. That is why the lower epidermis has 0 stomata. C, you have to even remember those details. So 35 is C. In which process in the nitrogen cycle do look, all the last 10 questions are tricky. So if you want to solve exams quickly, solve the last 10 questions, but do this only 2 or 3 days before the exam, okay? In which processes in the nitrogen cycle do microorganisms take nitrogen from the air and convert it into nitrogen compounds? Now, this is easy also. From the air directly
Nitrification.
into
Nitrogen fixation.
nitrogen fixation, my dear. Nitrification, this is the conversion of ammonium compounds in the soil into nitrates. Nitrogen fixation is when the nitrogen in the air is directly converted into nitrates in the soil. Nitrogen fixation happens either by lightning, remember, or nitrogen fixing bacteria. Remember that?
Yes.
Okay. So revise the nitrogen cycle. There are always questions on the nitrogen cycle. 37. An increased concentration of nitrates and water may result in the death of fish because of eutrophication. Some stages of eutrophication are given. 1. Increased aerobic respiration by decomposers. 2. Increased decomposition after death of producers. 3. Increased growth of producers. 4. Reduction in dissolved oxygen. What is the order? What is the first thing that happens in eutrophication? First, look for number 1.
1.
No, not 1. Don't we have
3.
overgrowth of algae? And these algae, they are producers and they block the sun. So the first
أيوة
thing that happens is 3.
الألجي بوم بقى وكل الكلام ده.
Exactly. The algae boom. And then the algae will block the sun. When the sun is blocked, this will be followed by the death of the water plants. So it is 3 and then 2. And then after the water plants die, they will be decomposed. So it is 1. Then these decomposers, they will do respiration and lower the oxygen levels. And the last thing that will die will be the fish. So the oxygen levels will become reduced first, and then the fish will die. So the answer for 37 is C. And also, they always ask about eutrophication. The last 5 questions are over ecology, the lesson ecology. In the lesson ecology, they ask about the nitrogen cycle, so revise it. They always ask about the eutrophication, and they always ask about the order of eutrophication. We solved maybe 3-4 exams in this past week, and they always ask about eutrophication and the nitrogen cycle. Okay? Which word describes the number of different species in an area? Variety, different species.
Community.
Biodiversity, community, ecosystem, or population? Different species, different.
Community.
My dear, biodiversity. Don't we
C.
say increase in biodiversity, decrease in biodiversity? It's A. Variety, different species. Don't we say deforestation reduces biodiversity? Pollution reduces biodiversity. Sexual reproduction increases biodiversity. We use the word biodiversity a lot. Biodiversity means many species, variation. Okay? Are you with me? 38
Yes.
A. Okay? I told you. This is normal. I don't want you to become discouraged. The last 10 questions, they are tricky. They are. Which statement is an advantage of genetically modifying crops? A. Less pesticide is used if the genetically modified crop is resistant to pests. More herbicide is used if the genetically modified crop is resistant to herbicide. Seeds for genetically modified crops are more expensive. The genetically modified crop genes may be passed to other plants.
A.
Is an advantage. Yes, A. This is something good about genetically modified crops. They are resistant to pests, so I will use less pesticide. 40, the last question. Which statements are correct descriptions of parts of the processes of protein synthesis? Amino acids are made by the ribosomes. Messenger RNA is copied. The gene coding for the protein moves into the nucleus. The ribosome assembles the amino acids into protein molecules. The sequence of amino acids is determined by the sequence of the bases in the messenger RNA. So please, they're not asking for the order. They're asking which statements are correct. So let's see. Number 1, amino acids are made by the ribosomes. Correct or not correct?
Correct. Or لا, not correct, not correct.
Amino
مش
acids are
ribosome.
made by the ribosomes. They're not
لا
made by the ribosomes.
protein.
The amino acids,
Oh.
excuse me?
They're assembled.
The amino acids are not made. The proteins are made by the island, not the amino acids. Okay, so 1 is wrong. Messenger RNA is copied.
Wrong.
Is the messenger? No, it's the DNA that is copied. 3,
Yes.
the gene coding for the protein moves into the nucleus. Does the
Wrong.
gene move? Wrong. Okay. 4, the ribosome assembles the amino acids into protein. Isn't this the correct function of the ribosome?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, so 4 is correct. 5, the sequence of amino acids is determined by the sequence of bases in the messenger. I think I always told you that this is the most important sentence. Yes.
Yes.
So the answer is 4 and 5 only. Let's check. Yes, it's D. Okay. So there were a few tricky questions. They are highlighted in yellow. We solve another exam together, or we solve another one on Tuesday? What's true? On Sunday?
On Tuesday, because we have an exam tomorrow.
Really? Okay. What is tomorrow? Tomorrow is
Arabic OL.
okay. Then another exam on Sunday, not on Tuesday. Okay, I'll let you go because you have another exam tomorrow. Fine. Good luck. And as you're doing, while you're solving, send me if you have any questions. Okay.
Okay.
Bye bye.
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 Bye.